Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats. I'm at ICC here to analyze a game from Team 4545 League, Team Event 56. This game was selected Game of the Week by FIDE Master Elect Nfork, and he didn't provide an analysis on this one. He's been kind of busy, but I'm sure he would be pretty much right on with everything we say. We seem to be meeting the minds here. But anyway, I'll give you my analysis on this. Unfortunately, we don't have the timestamp on this. The game disappeared from both players' history, and nobody's reading my note. If you nominate a game, save it to your library. Okay, then I can get the timestamp. I did glance at the times. Neither one got into serious time pressure. I don't know if time was a factor here. If a rushed move, but I think the reason this game was won and lost was because the loser didn't understand the basic strategy of how to play this opening. And here's an interesting point. There's been a number of games that I've made videos for the league, and then I've turned right around and made another video where somebody obviously didn't watch my video and goes and loses a game in the exact same manner as somebody had already done before. And here I've warned people, watch my videos. If you don't, you may find yourself on the short end, and those that are watching them will see my videos and know what to do. And actually, one of my earlier videos, it wasn't a league video. I have a free video lessons program which you can find on my website, which will be linked in the YouTube link. And video lesson 2 covers 2 games with this variations from 30 years ago, back in 1983, when I defeated a couple of 2300 players. And I'll get to those, I'll discuss those in a bit. I'll integrate what happened there into this discussion. Come back to that a little bit, but it pays to watch my videos. Okay, what can I say? You want to learn chess? Look at these. These things are spot on. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we come up with. So we've got, I call it the Pirc defense. I guess Pirc is the correct pronunciation, but it doesn't matter. Now it's kind of a slower line, and White now opts to play c4. Now what this does is it turns it from a king pawn opening into a queen pawn opening. So this is fine. It's a little different than a King's Indian normal main line, simply because in the main line, this knight here on e2 is usually on f3, and I'm going to have to back it up to show a point or two. I want to quote a game or two. Maybe I can just bring it up. Let's see, let me get this. No, I'm not going to bother. That's Mr. Argaduri's library list. They're in my library, but it's not important. I just want to go over the strategies. They're similar. Okay, so basically this is a standard position. The book position would have this bishop on e2 and this knight on f3, and that's not possible here. But I had 2 games in this position, and they're in my library, because I made the recording almost a year ago here at ICC. They're entries number 125 and 126. And what happened in game 125 was the way this strategy is supposed to go. White will expand on the queen side and black on the king side. And in this particular game that I quote, black didn't go forward with his king side attack. And he tried to cover everything I was doing on the queen side, and basically that's the wrong idea. You must continue straight forward with your plan, because defending will just lead to disaster. And I had to play accurately to win it, but that's a great demonstration. And to some respects, this game is similar. And we'll point out the errors black made, which allowed this. The other game in the library makes another point which backs up what happened here. Picture, as I say, rather than just replay it, you guys are bright, all of you are bright, you can visualize it. Picture this knight on e2 and this bishop on e2. And what white does is he plays his knight back to e1, and then black gets ready for this f5 push. He does it by dropping his knight back to actually to d7. Okay. Yeah, to d7. Then white plays, the knight goes to d3, and then black plays f5. And white is not supposed to play f3 here. White's supposed to play bishop d2, and this is in my library 126. And I cover this in my video. If black is silly enough to push f4, white takes his bishop on e2 and plays it to g4, and will force the trade of black's best piece in this whole attack, this bishop on c8, the attack that black's going to generate, okay? And that would give white a clear advantage. Let me get rid of these arrows by going forward one move. Okay, and essentially the gist of this opening is white has 3 files to play on. Okay, here they are. And black has 2 files to play on. Once this eventually, whoops, well, you get the idea. This pawn will find its way up to f4 eventually, and eventually this pawn will go to f3, and black has 2 files to play on. And the game is considered approximately even though black has 1 less file to operate on. The reason being there's an enemy king at the end of the rainbow for black, so to speak, and occasionally black will administer a fine mating attack against the king. So, as I say, that's the way the game is supposed to go. And what happened in the 2 games that I mentioned, I said the other one already, that black did not conduct, in the first game, black did not conduct his kingside attack, and to some degree that's what happens here. But anyway, in the second game, followed a different pattern. I just use it to illustrate about the how white would love to trade the light squared bishop because it's black's best piece. Okay, so here's the first mistake black makes. Okay, this move is totally unnecessary. It costs a tempo. Eventually this pawn needs to be on h5 because it will support an eventual g4 pawn push. Okay, so at some point black's going to lose a tempo with this move. Also, it delays black 1 move. He doesn't play this for several moves. This pawn doesn't come to h5 for a long time, and it delays by 1 move what black needs to get going. And what black needs to do in this position is simply move the knight to one of these squares and play f5, and then continue on his way with f4, g5, and transfer the knight back up to f6 and redeploy his pieces and start his attack. So h6 is a mistake, and it basically gives white a tempo up, and black's always going to be 1 move behind where he could have been. We'll try to see if that has any effect as we go. We can always say picture this position with black having 1 extra move. Okay, so now this I also think is a mistake too, because as I say, white is going to try to break open on the queen side, and black needs to keep his queenside pawns are intact, not attack. Okay, and the reason you want to keep these pawns intact is because they're strongest on their original square. This move has the drawback that it weakens the b6 square. Okay, black getting control of the open A file really means nothing. There's nothing black can do with his rook on that file that white need to worry about. So black is, in effect, now black has taken another tempo away from what he needs to do. And had black watched my videos, black would know this. But okay, I got tons of videos, especially with the league. So they're all free. There's over 300 of them. Have fun. Okay, anyway, white just plays a3, and now comes his exchange. And let's see what black does. Okay, another mistake. He's weakening the pawns. He's trying to watch what white's doing. Okay, well, white's got a lasting initiative on this side of the board, and black is actually making it for better and easier for white to do what he wants. And we'll see how this happens as the position clarifies. What does white need to do? White needs to complete his development. Okay, got to find a home for this bishop, for this queen, swing this rook into play, or does it stay on the king side to help the king? Okay, well, it only needs to help the king if black's going to start attacking, and black isn't. So black's really misfiring this opening, and white is very, very close to a strategically won game. He's just got to play accurately, because he's getting all the time in the world to get his thing going. Where's the black attack? Okay, so let's see what white does. Well, I'm not so sure about f3 right now, because black hasn't started that attack yet. Okay, what white needs to do is play for the c5 push, and he could even play it now. And if black captures twice, black's got a couple of shattered pawns on c5 and c7 that are going to become targets. Well, white will have a very strong position. I mean, white can afford the luxury of f3, but white doesn't need to. Maybe white wants to post the bishop on e3 and wants to have it be safe from a potential knight g4. So although f3 may not be the most accurate, it's not a bad move. It's certainly not one that would cost white a chance to win this game. Now, if he's playing Magnus Carlsen, yeah, could be a serious enough error that lets Carlsen generate enough activity on the king side, being down a tempo, that he can get some adequate counterplay. Okay, but objectively nothing wrong with it, but it may not be the most precise. But where else does white put this bishop? Well, you can just leave it there for now. Okay, it's not doing any harm. But then again, white may probably be playing this move anyway, so it may not be the move I would play, but it's certainly not a bad move. Okay, so let's see what black does. Okay, he finally gets the idea. I need to attack on the king side. And then white does what I was suggesting. You would have thought he might have played bishop e3, but this is fine. And here comes the black attack. Now white decides you better put that bishop on f3 now, or it won't get there. And here we have bishop f2. So now we've kind of followed the basic strategy that I outlined earlier. White has 3 files to play with because the center is locked. I'll draw some attention to that in a second. Here's white's 3 files, and as I say, black's on this file, but it's not doing him anything. Okay, black has 2 files. Here they are, but he's a little slow getting things going. White's done his pawn break of c5 already. Black has not done his pawn break of g4, so black's lagging behind a little bit. It's going to be a while before he can get it there. This knight got to go back to f6. So 1, 2, 3. Black's 4 moves away from playing it. White can do a lot in those 4 moves. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so g5, that follows the theme. He's got to get g4 in. And this might have been premature on white's part. But again, it's a luxury he can afford simply because he's ahead in development. So I wouldn't say it's the most accurate move. Just keep the pawns intact and continue here on the queen side. Queen b3 is a possibility, and then the rooks are connected. White may be able to just stick his rook on the a file and go ahead and take that a file and control of it, and try to penetrate down to a7. But again, white has some luxuries because black has misplayed this position. Okay, let's see what happens. And black decides to continue to play on where white's supposed to be doing the damage, and this helps white a lot. And here is again the critical mistake, the final mistake. After this game, white is definitely clearly winning in my book. Black has no hope. Okay, none. Period. Now, if he outranks his opponent by 200 or 300 points, he's got a chance. But in an equal setting, and the ratings here are pretty close, white's winning. Why do I say that? Well, I kind of gave the answer already in the other video. I mean, not the other video. The 2 games I mentioned in my library. The second game, I pointed out that white would the trick where white will get this bishop to g4 and force an exchange of this bishop. Okay, and this is black's best piece. Okay, it's black's best piece, that light squared bishop. It can do so many things to support this g4 break. It might even sacrifice itself down here on h3 at the right moment. See, that's another one of the reasons why I think h3 might have been premature. But once black trades this bishop, his attack on the king side is ground to a screeching halt, and he's still several moves from playing g4. Okay, let's count him up again. 1, 2, 3. He's 3 moves away from playing it. So, and white has 3 moves to do a lot of things. So, white is now strategically winning, and it's that simple. White's got all this room to maneuver over on the queen side, and that's what he's going to be doing in the next several moves. Look at this bishop. Okay, it's recognized that this is a bad piece for black in this opening, but in this case, it's basically hemmed in for the duration. It's almost humorous if white plays c6. How's this bishop ever going to get out? Okay, it's going to have a range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 squares, maybe 9 if you can get g5 in. Ugly. 10 if we can get it to h5. But I don't know. White's winning. It's that simple. Okay, so white connects his rooks, and the black attack still hasn't gotten going yet. Here's black playing on the queen side. This is the wrong side of the board. Okay, hey, I'm not being mean or anything. This is your plan. That's your only hope now. Okay, you stay over here. White's going to roll you up, and that's what happens. Okay, so boom, Rick on the 7th rank. White probably had a lot of alternative ways to win this. To try to show every possibility would be fruitless. And to try to show every possible defense black could make would be fruitless. I'm just saying, white is winning, period. Okay? I would play this happily against anybody up to International Master, and I will beat you, and I'll say that with confidence. Okay? And I'll probably beat a number of GMs from this position. If anyone would like to make a wager, say $500, if you have a title, I'll be more than happy to take you up on it, and you'd be a fool too. Okay, white is going to win. Period. All right. So it might have been better for black to just sit there and keep the pawn formation like it is, but white's got his way here. But again, where's this attack? And in the games in my library that I mentioned, 125, the G4 break didn't come up until the ending, and by then he was losing. But anyway, this is the side of the board you need to be on. You're just playing right into white's hands. Now this threatens a nasty discovered check, so black's got to make remedies. See how he does that? Yep, he gets his king out of the way. And then, look at this. The c7 pawn is extremely weak, and if it's won, my goodness, white has a protected advanced pass pawn on the 5th rank, and plenty of space to maneuver. I mean, look at all this space here. You got this whole bunch of room here behind the pieces. It's just like, what's black got? Black's got, here, I'll put circles over here. What's black got to play with? Not too much. Okay? And some of those squares black can't even move to. Okay? Anyway, rook e8. Okay, wrong place to put the rook, but I guess for defensive purposes, the rook would need to get to g8 because this is the objective. Now, rook g8 isn't enough. There's probably a tactical shot that'll win the game for white. For instance, just see it. Bishop takes e7. Queen takes e7 and rook takes c7, winning the pawn. As I said, black is prepared to defend c7 with his rook. Okay, so black's totally into defensive mode. But boom, here comes d6, and such a nice move. It clears d5 for a knight. It opens up the 7th rank. Just quality chess. Okay, so black decides to give up material, but he was losing anyway. Okay, no matter what black does, he's losing. And to sit here and show you all the ways, it's a good exercise for you to try to do it. It's an exercise in futility, I'm telling you. White's going to win this. And those of you that might scoff at my bet, you go ahead and make it against somebody 200-300 points against you. it's money in the bank. Just be careful you don't blunder. But nobody should take that wager. Okay, so black's got a pawn for giving up the equality, or the exchange as it's known in America. But it doesn't really matter. He's just busted. White can win this any way he wants, I think. Just activate this rook. It's not needed to help the king. The black attack never got going. And black sends the defender over there to stop the rook from coming to the 7th rank. And white just gets his king out of potential dangers as some checks. Although there was no sacrifice to be had on h3. How does black get another piece on that square since his bishop is gone? Well, good answer. Good question. I don't know. But anyway, attacks the queen. That's black's only good piece here. White just goes and occupies a good square. Knight resumes defensive purposes. And now this knight comes into play. White's threatening to mop up. Knight takes, followed by picking up another exchange. My goodness. Black's into defensive mode. Now this makes the 7th rank even more vulnerable, as we will see. Now there's a threat of rook h7 check, and then this knight will be pinned. I mean, my goodness. Black's just hurting for certain here. So he chases the queen out. That's fine. Just come back, stay on the diagonal, keep the pressure on g8. And black gets his queen into play, but really, what target does he have? There is none. White's completely winning. And this is a fine move. This just, as a matter of fact, this was so fine that black just resigned. I mean, what can black do? There's really nothing he can do. Let's see. The rook's attacked, and this knight's attacked. So it looks like the only chance is to take this knight. Now white's crawling all over the 7th rank, right? Okay, attacking the queen. Where does the black queen go? My goodness. E3, F2 are open. What else is open? Not too much. Take your pick. Now, if anything, white can just gobble the queen, and then when the pawn takes back, this pawn's a goner. Or white can try to administer a checkmate. It shouldn't be too hard. Let's see. How about this move? Against either queen e3 or queen f2. This puts the kibosh on black. The threat is queen takes followed by a quick checkmate. How does black defend this? Well, we know he can't move the knight. If the knight goes to g8 or h5, it's mate in 1, right? If the knight goes back to d7, white just takes it with his rook and renews the threat of queen mate. What else can black do here? If he guards the knight with bishop g7, that allows a mate in 1. If you guard the knight with rook f6, that just allows queen takes f8 check, and that'll be mate in 2. Knight g8, and white can mate with rook h7 if he wants. My goodness, what else is left? Bishop e7. Chew on this, and all the threats are back. Gosh, I'm almost wondering if white can sacrifice. No, I wanted to sacrifice the white queen here, but it's not enough. G7 is covered. Okay. Basically, black gave up at the right time. So it's a great game by white. Q, you did, if that's how you pronounce your name, Q. You were handed a gift, but you knew what to do, and if you didn't, you figured it out. So, Burning Bush, you need to watch my videos, okay? But especially if you want to try to play this defense again, okay? Otherwise, you won't stand a chance if you don't get your kingside attack. And look at that pawn. I said that was his first mistake. It's still there on h6. It never got going. The attack, black's attack, never got going. And reminder again, those two games, it's on my video lesson number 2, free video lesson program. It's there and it's in my library. Black never got his attack going in library list 125. And all the activity went on the queen side, and white mopped up. Okay, it was a very interesting game, certainly worthy of Game of the Week, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time that looked, and if you learned anything about the King's Indian defense as a result of this video, then I've done my purpose. I want to thank you for your time, and I'll be back soon with a video for round 5. I was just chatting with N4 in the ICC channel, and he's selected a game, and he's going to post analysis probably by tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks.